Hi everybody. So today I'm going to do a video about the general election that's coming up in a matter of days. And I really want to stress that this is our last chance now to obtain a confirmatory referendum with regards to leaving the European Union. If we win, and when I say win the general election, I'm talking about obtaining a hung parliament, where Labour are the largest party in a coalition or a confidence and supply arrangement, then we will have gained the referendum. If, however, the Conservatives are able to form a majority government, it's over. Well, it's over certainly for probably a decade. We'll continue to fight, but ultimately the whole thing would need to bleed out before you can start persuading people to go through this whole process again to rejoin the European Union, which I think we ultimately would do anyway in the long run. But ideally, we don't want to go through the years and years and years of damage to Britain and the stripping of rights away from its citizens, just only to eventually get back to where we started. Now, I've written an article for politics.co.uk that hopefully will be published on Monday, but there's no guarantee of that. So what I want to do is I want to read that article because it encapsulates my thoughts on what could happen if the Conservatives actually managed to obtain a working majority, and what we can do to prevent that from happening. So here we go. In a matter of days, the future of this country will be decided, not just for the next 5 years, but for at least a generation. This could be dismissed, and it often is, by those who don't fully comprehend or simply wish to dismiss the magnitude of the situation we're facing. But it really is that serious. The Conservative Party is now fully unshackled from the moderate one-nation traditionalists who once balanced it out. It is free to go full steam ahead towards its utopia. The only thing standing in its way is the fast approaching general election. A purge has taken place from root to branch. People who no longer fit the mould have been cast out regardless of their longevity, seniority or experience. The old guard of elder statesmen like Ken Clarke and Nicholas Soames is gone. Others have been forced to resign or move to other parties or simply given up on politics altogether. The only thing that remains intact is the name Conservative Party. Everything else has been dismantled by entryists at the bottom and MPs at the top. Now, make no mistake, if the Conservative Party win the general election with a working majority, there will be no stopping them. Even if 65% of the popular vote goes against them, they will still use the general election as a mandate to force through their vision. There will be no quarter given and no consideration for those who do not agree with them. The fanaticism that is now driving the party can be most keenly seen through the prism of Brexit. The interpretation of the referendum result, which yielded the tiniest of majorities in June 2016, has been corrupted to be portrayed as a mandate for the hardest of Brexits. They have to a large extent got away with this. They're rarely challenged by a media which has failed to get a handle on the shifting definition applied to leaving the European Union. They know that what they say one day can be disregarded the next as they inch closer to what they actually want. It's a terrifying prospect. Who among us really believes that the Conservative Party, relieved of its more compassionate wing, will reach out to the communities that have been neglected for so long? Who among us really believes Boris Johnson is capable of, or even serious about, negotiating a free trade agreement with the EU in under a year? The truth is, with a Conservative majority, we must assume we will eventually leave the European Union without a deal. In the days after the general election, Johnson will ride a wave of success amongst his party, but even he might not be the nadir. In the weeks and months that follow, he could face challenges from even further on the right. The Conservative Party, as it now stands, has been born from a revolution, and all revolutions have a tendency to turn on those who instigated them. Johnson may be secure for a short while, but the new intake of those who have been deemed pure are unlikely to be cowed for long. They will jostle for position, and the easiest way to further their careers will be to use the rhetoric of betrayal that has been so effective for Johnson up until now. Some will emerge to challenge any attempt Johnson may make in finalising a deal. They will cry betrayal, they will rebel, and they will claim to be the one true holder of Brexit. The monster Johnson has created could very easily eat its creator. After all, some Brexit Party accounts even consider Nigel Farage a traitor against Brexit at the moment. We'd be plunged even further into constitutional and political crisis, and at this time there will be no way to revoke Article 50 and return us to a saner position we had before the referendum. Now, it's a dystopian vision, but not unrealistic. After all, it is the precise pattern we saw under Theresa May, a hard Brexit stance, branded betrayal by those who demand something harder still. But there's hope. We have not yet had the general election. We still have a few days to inform and galvanise people, to make them aware of the reality of the situation we face. Our first-past-the-post electoral system is utterly broken and unfit for a modern democracy. But there are things we can do to make it work for rather than against us. We just have to leave tribalism behind and work together. Now, in marginal seats, where there is a clear and unambiguous choice against the Conservative, we must swallow our pride, hold our noses and vote for them, even if the thought of it is appalling. In non-marginal seats, there are vote-swapping websites where you can trade your vote with someone else to make it count more effectively. You can campaign and offer to help in a neighbouring seat that has a better chance of stopping or unseating a Conservative candidate. There are so many ways any of us can help. It just requires a little effort. We can stop this. It's not too late. There are millions of people in this country, undoubtedly the majority, who do not want to see a Conservative government. And we must find a way to work together. We must stop attacking each other locally and confusing the situation. We must spell out a positive alternative in order to motivate people to come to our side. In a matter of days, the future of this country will be decided. Let's make it one of hope, openness, and cooperation. So that's what I think could happen if the Conservatives win. And that's what I think we need to do to stop that outcome from happening. Now, you have to remember that Boris Johnson is a proven liar. He lies almost in every sentence that he says when he's out campaigning politically. He's also a coward. He's afraid to be interviewed by Andrew Neil. When you have demagogues and populists gaining power, like Johnson, like Farage, like the people around Boris Johnson in the Conservative Party now, and being waved on by 40+% of the population, either blind, refusing to see, or actively encouraging what is happening, then this country is in very, very deep trouble. This isn't going to stop. It's only going to get worse. You can't support Johnson and turn a blind eye to all the lies and all the mistruths and the rhetoric that he says, hoping that it's simply a means to an end, and then expect it to go back to normal afterwards. Because once you let that out the bag, once politicians see this is acceptable, they will continue down this path, becoming ever more extreme. History has shown us once it's out of the bag, only a seismic event can jolt the country back to a more moderate course. And that jolt and the events leading up to it can often destroy countries. We really are at that point. Because the untruths and the lies that are being laid upon each other, that Johnson is building his entire campaign on, are so dangerous, especially if so many people are prepared to simply turn a blind eye to it or accept it because they know that he's a liar, but they believe he's their liar. Or they know that he is a liar, but they believe that what he's going to do is eventually help get the country to where these people want it to be. You can't trust a liar. The DEP tried to trust him, and he's just shafted them by putting a border down the Irish Sea. He's split the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland in two. Nobody can trust him. Boris Johnson simply doesn't have, it would appear, simply doesn't have any beliefs other than belief in himself. And he's probably the worst Prime Minister, certainly in the 20th and 21st century, because he has no moral compass. He will literally do whatever it takes to get what he wants. Now, I know many of you watching this won't be interested. You won't listen to this, you'll think I'm biased, or you'll think it doesn't matter because, as I said before, you believe he's on your side. Why do you believe that? Because he said so? I mean, he wrote 2 articles, remember, before the European referendum. One to remain, one to leave. And he decided on the eve before that which stance would be most beneficial to him. So why are you choosing to believe what he says? Why are you choosing to believe what those around him say? I probably won't change any minds, but I hope that this video helps people think about what they should be doing with regards to stopping the Conservatives gaining an overall majority, because the prospect is genuinely terrifying. Good luck, everybody.